Hey guys, are you ready for some book recs? Okay, I have a bunch of fall book recs for you. It goes all the way down. I don't even want to try and pick this up, but yeah, so I have a bunch of fall book recs for you, and let's just get into it. Okay, let me get my mic on. Okay, let's get right into it. So I have a bunch of fall books that I want to recommend to you. I have like a huge stack. They fell. So I'm just going to do one at a time. I'm going to try to break them up into sections, but if I don't have them all like in specific sections, don't come for me. I also have a list here that I wrote out because I have a couple that I don't own physically that I will also be talking about. So let's get right into it. So I think we're going to start off with cozy fall recs. So, and like kind of like romance kind of thing. So the first one is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. This one is by Lori Gilmore. And this one is just about a girl named Jeannie, and her aunt gives her this pumpkin spice cafe basically. So she moves away from her old job and she decides to basically start managing this, or she owns it because it's given to her, this cafe. And obviously, sorry if you hear things, my husband's cooking. Obviously, things happen. She meets somebody, sparks start to fly. It's just super cozy. This is one of like 4 in this Dream, I think it's called Dream Harbor. I think so, Dream Harbor series. But, or maybe she has 5 now. Another one is coming out. But yeah, this one, and also the Cinnamon Bun Bookshop. That's another one. I actually have not read that one. I'm going to be reading that one this fall, but I would recommend this one and the other one. Is the writing the best writing in the whole world? No, but it's cute, it's cozy, it's like a warm hug. So yeah. So the next one that's cute and cozy also is called The Crescent Moon Tea Room. So this one is by Stacy Savinsky. This one follows 3 sisters, and they're all kind of struggling to figure out like where they fit and how to use their abilities, because they're all witches, after their mother dies. So it's not a spoiler, it's on the back. But they own this little Crescent Moon tea room, and they meet people in this tea room, and they do secret spells with them because they're not really allowed to do magic. It's really fun, really cozy, very atmospheric. I think a lot of it takes place like right around Halloween. So this is a fun one too. The next cozy one is Given Our History by Kristen J. Miller. And I have the book that has his head like backwards or whatever. So I'm never going to give this one away because it's just like so funny. But this one follows our main character, Clara. She is a professor, like a history professor. And it also follows our other main character, Teddy. They have some history between them, and it turns out that she starts teaching, or I think he starts teaching at the school that she is teaching at, and sparks start to fly, of course, and it's just really cute, really cozy. This one also feels like a warm hug, and this one's relatively short. There's very little spice in it. I think also this takes place in the 90s. This is another one I really enjoyed. So I can't do cozy fall without Legends and Lattes. And there's also another one called Bookshops and Bone Dust that I just finished. It was great. And then there's also another one that's coming out called Brigands and Bread Knives. This one follows our main character, Viv. She is an ogre, or an orc, basically. And she used to be a mercenary. And she is now working in this, tea/coffee shop. And she's working with her partner, and she's basically like loving life. And it's just very cozy. It's very warm. It's very soft and gentle and fun. And yeah, it's another kind of cozy, warm hug. So this one is another great one for the season. Okay, so the next 2, there's actually 3 now, I think. But this is The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. And then this one is The Undermining of Twyla Frank. This one I'm reading this fall, so I'm not going to talk to you that much about it, but I am still going to recommend it because this one was so incredible. It was shocking how good this book was. I was actually like blown away by how good this book was. I think I gave this book 5 stars. It was so funny, like laugh out loud funny. I was like rolling around and kicking my feet and like giggling and all the things that you want from like a funny little cozy fantasy. So this is a cozy fantasy basically. This all takes place, this one and then also the new one that's out takes place in this like kind of fantasy-like world that's adjacent to our world. So it's like kind of like the Upside Down, but like less spooky. It's like more cozy, but it's still this like kind of dilapidated world version that of ours, basically. So basically what happens is they, Heart and Mercy are 2 characters in the book. And Heart is a marshal, basically, and he is the person who, like, when someone dies, he's tasked to go and get them from that other world and bring them back to the human world, basically, or like delivers them from like one world to the next, pretty much. And then Mercy is the person who has the undertaking business, pretty much, and so they have to connect with each other in order for there to be a peaceful passing between the 2 worlds. But they hate each other. They hate each other, and there's a lot of banter, and there's a lot of like witty, like sarcastic moments between them. But what's crazy is that they're also, both very lonely, and they're both looking for a sense of like belonging and connection. This is really cool too because it's got like You've Got Mail vibes because Hart starts writing letters to this unknown person, and he's writing letters back and forth to this person. Starts off like kind of complaining, but then turns out they start like really connecting, and it's just really, really fun. And it's just really, really good and really exciting and fun. And I loved every second of it, and I can't wait for this one. We're going to switch gears to like witchy kind of spooky, like more like witchy, spooky, paranormal. So the first one is House of Hollow. This is by Crystal Sutherland. This is maybe the only book I read by Crystal Sutherland? I loved it. This basically follows 3 sisters. One of them goes missing. Technically, they have all gone missing at one point in their lives, but they came back except for one. So one never came back. They are on a quest to find the other sister who didn't come back, pretty much. And they're going to this like magical world. Again, kind of like that other book I just shared. That's like a different world that's kind of the same, but it's like through a different dimension, a different doorway. So it's kind of our world, but like, again, like the Upside Down type of thing, but like more with like, not less spooky and more like overgrowth and vines and like rotting fruit. And there's a lot of imagery in here. There's a lot of just like really atmospheric moments. The writing is beautiful. It feels like it's dripping off the page. This is just a gorgeous, gorgeous book. Also tabbed it a bunch, so I loved it. It was incredible, and I now want to read Invocations by this author as well. So the next ones that are kind of spooky, spectral, whatever, are Phantasma and Enchantra. These are by Kaylee Smith. These are just so much fun. I loved this one. I really liked this one, but I loved this one. This one was 5 stars. This one was like 4 stars, maybe. Both of these books follow 2 sisters. This book is the first sister. I think her name is Ophelia, and this one is Guinevere. And they're basically just, this one she has to do trials, and then this one she kind of has to do trials too, but it's in a different version. It's not in Phantasma. Enchantra is a different type of trial, but they both are doing trials. It's very spicy, sexy, very, I don't even know what I would say about these. They're just so much fun. They're very atmospheric. I read this one last year when I was on a fall trip, and I just like ate it up. I read this one this summer, but it just didn't, maybe that's why it didn't hit as hard. It didn't hit as hard because this one it was like spooky, and it was like fog and all that stuff, and I was reading this while I was in like the woods, and it was like all the vibes were vibing. So, but I would recommend both of them. They're great. So these 2. Okay, so the next one are these 2 books. We've got Pet and we've got Bitter. Bitter is her name. Pet is the thing that she meets, and then she names it Pet. And then Bitter is her mom. So basically what happens is that you see a paintbrush here. This mom is able to paint things to life, pretty much. And the first book, I gave it 5 stars. It was incredible because of all the things that happened. There's a lot of metaphors in here, a lot of just the way that Akwaeke Emezi writes is just so beautiful, and so there's so many deeper messages and meanings to it. It's not just that a piece of artwork comes to life. That's not it. It's so much more than that, because the feelings that you're feeling while you're reading this one and this one are just like fear and grief and loss and like pain and anger and happiness and love, and you're just getting all these feelings and emotions from these 2 books. I would say read these. They're very short. Technically, these are YA. I loved these. These were incredible. So I would read these as well. Very atmospheric. A lot of imagery. I couldn't go without saying these 2 books. These are probably my favorite fantasy books I've ever read. I don't read a whole lot of fantasy, but these 2. So this is One Dark Window, and this is 2 Twisted Crowns. This one follows Elspeth, and I think this one has, is it Raven? Or is this one Raven You? So this one follows Elspeth and Raven, and they are basically trying to, she's born with or not born, but she's cursed to have a nightmare in her head, basically. And the nightmare is telling her to do things because, well, I don't want to give it away, but the nightmare is telling her to do things. She has a choice to either listen to it or not. I don't want to talk about the magic system too much, but the magic system in this is very different than anything I've experienced. And they're trying to stop this one king from getting all of the magic, basically. The second one is pretty much the completion of this story. It is following more of his brother and her, I think it's her cousin. It's also very interesting, very spooky. Both of these are very spooky, very moody, very like atmospheric, a lot of fog, a lot of like wet, damp earth. These are the best. These are incredible. If you haven't read them already, read them. They're the best. The best. Another spooky kind of spectral is Deadly Occupants by Mads Rafferty. So this one was pretty big last year. This is basically 4 friends. They go to this little haunted house here, or this house that they know is haunted. Something happens inside the house. One night, they choose to try to connect with spirits. So it was a big mistake, and then things start to follow them back home. It was so much fun. This was so much fun. This was just, I want to read more Mads Rafferty because this was a fun book. Another spooky, another spectral kind of vibe. I couldn't do this without Slewfoot. I mean, I couldn't do this video without Slewfoot. This is incredible. This is by Brom. This is the story of a young girl who lives in puritanical Connecticut, New England, and she is, man, she's locked. She's locked in. She's, betrothed. Her husband is not doing very well. He's kind of ill. Her dad, he's poor, so that's why she has to get married. She's, she doesn't have a lot of rights. She doesn't have a lot of voice, a lot of say. This is a lot feminine rage. It has a lot of feminine rage in it. I would say most of this book is feminine rage, which is maybe the reason why I love it. But it's also written beautifully. And it's also very atmospheric. I read this when I was on a trip to New England during fall. I was leaf peeping with my husband. It was the second week of October, 2 years ago. It was the most incredible experience because it was very immersive, because I was living kind of like in my mind when I was reading it, living in this type of mindset while I was there and while I was reading it. Because I went to New Hampshire, I went to Connecticut, I went to Maine, Mass. I went to all the places just to leaf peep. And this was one of the books I read, and it was just such an immersive experience. This is a 5-star for me. This is one of the best books I've ever read in my life. Also, what's cool about Brahm is he's an artist. So he's an author, but he's also an artist. This is our main character, Abatha. She is learning a lot about herself. But this artwork is just, there's Slewfoot. I mean, the artwork is just beautiful. So I would say pick this up and read it. It's so worth your time. It's so worth your time. I also have all of his other books over here, except for one, because one of them was like $300. And I was like, I'm not going to buy a $300 book. But yes, Slewfoot. Probably if you're going to read any book from this list, I would say Slewfoot would be the first one I would tell you to read. Another kind of spooky, spectral type of vibe, which is House of Salt and Sorrows. And then there's also another one called, House of Roots and Ruin. It's this companion novel to this one. I actually haven't read that. I was saving it for this fall because this one I read last fall. This one follows our main character, Annalie. She is living, basically picture a huge, expansive ocean. And then there's like a really, really, really tall cliff. And then there's like a manor on top of the cliff. And that's where her and her family live, in this manor on top of the cliff. The ocean is crashing and it's like turbulent and the waves are like, breaking away the rock from, it's just very like extreme weather where she is. Basically, she's one of the last remaining sisters. I think she had like 13 sisters. She's one of the last remaining sisters. All of her sisters have have mysteriously either gone missing or were murdered or killed without reasons why, no one knows. And she's trying to figure out why and why this curse is happening to her family. So, and then the second one's supposed to be just as atmospheric as the first. So, yeah, I would recommend this one and also the other one. We have another one that is, this is Dracula. This is by Bram Stoker. And I read this one and I really enjoyed it. Everyone knows the story of Dracula, so I'm not going to go into it with you. But this is just about an undead man who also, is lonely and wants love and, that. But I would say this one's great, but Dracul by Dacre Stoker, which is like an ancestor of Bram Stoker's, Dracul recounts Bram's life and how he wrote this book and what events took place for him to write Dracula. And I'm telling you, after I read it like 3 years ago. After I read it, I was convinced, and maybe I'm like late to the game, but I was convinced that vampires exist because of this storyline, because of the way he wrote the story, because the way he explains it is shockingly realistic. And the way he explains how he came up with Dracula, it's based on like experiences. It's nuts. I need you to read it. So Dracula for sure, but Dracul, that's the one you should read. That's the one you should read. It's so good. That one is by Dacre Stoker. I'll put it somewhere here, but incredible. Two more that are really fun, kind of silly, goofy, but also like spectral and spooky are Horror Store and My Best Friend's Exorcism. These are both by Grady Hendrix. He writes real interesting horror that's like spooky, but also like silly and crazy and like, what the hell? So this one follows a worker at Horror Store, which is supposed to be like IKEA. And just really creepy, freaky things happen in this IKEA/horror store. It's fun, it's kooky, it's spooky, it's wild, it's a fun, good time. I loved this book. And then the other one, this is probably my favorite book of all time, like one of them, for real. And I love the way it looks like an old VHS. This is just like giving me life. My Best Friend's Exorcism. I love it. A girl is basically going through it. She goes to a party with her friend and she comes back like that night. They can't find her. She comes back. She's all bloody. She's walking through the woods. She's naked. No one knows what's happening. No one knows where she went. She doesn't even know where she went. And then she starts doing really weird things. And it's incredible. And it takes place in the 80s. And I love every second of it. And I've actually read this book like 5 times. I love it so much. So, yeah, those two. This one is kind of out of order, but A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. This is a coming-of-age story about a young girl living in Brooklyn in 1912, and then a little bit on. I think it goes to 1916. This is a 5-star. This was a 5-star for me. This is one of the best books I've ever read. Incredible, amazing, chef's kiss. I also tabbed it a bunch. It's some of the most beautiful writing. Like I said, just a beautiful coming of age story about a girl living in Brooklyn and just the paths that her life takes. It was great. I loved it. Okay, there's a couple of books that I don't have physically with me. I'm just going to name them so that you know. But one of them is, the Ravenfall series. It's like right up here. I think there's 4 of them now. They're incredible. They're YA. They're basically just like a story about this girl who has, or is discovering that she has these powers. And she also lives kind of in like a world that's not exactly like our world, but kind of like one of those again. It's really fun. She has like some people that she teams up with. She has a best friend and she teams up with him a lot to like go on these missions, and he's also magical, so he's discovering his powers as well. There's a little bit of love interest in there too in all the books. You just go deeper and deeper into all the books, and it's just a fun, good time in their YA. Next one is Addie LaRue. Just read it. Just read it. It's about a girl who basically, another kind of feminine rage in a way. It starts off feminine rage. She is betrothed. She doesn't want to be married. So she decides to make a deal with the devil. And that deal causes her to be forgotten by everybody that she ever comes in contact with. Until one day when someone says that he remembers her. It's incredible. Tears. I loved it. 5 stars. Everything. It gave me everything. Chef's kiss. The next one is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Another fabulous book. 5 stars. It's basically rich, well, mostly rich. One is not rich. One child is not rich. But it's basically rich kids doing rich kid shit, pretty much. And getting into lots of trouble and doing just the most bizarre things and living these really entitled lifestyles. One of them does not fit in. He does not come from money. And it's kind of like, what would you do or how far would you go to be accepted? It's great. It's some of the most beautiful writing I've ever read. I actually had the book, gave it away, had it again, like bought it again, and then gave it to someone else. I don't have either book now. So I need to get my hands on another copy because I don't remember even who I gave it to. Let's be real. Another one is, these are like more like creepy kind of horrors, like kind of domestic horrors, I would say, are Nestlings and Mary. They're both just domestic horror, and they're both scary as hell because they're both very real. They're realistic. One of them is dealing with a woman who's going through a change, and the other one is a new mother who's going through changes as well. And then another domestic horror that I really loved so much was We Spread by Ian Reid. It's another domestic horror, I would say, about aging, and it's realistic and it's scary. It's scary because it's real and it will happen. Another really great one is The Reformatory by Tananarive. That's one of the best books I've read it was this year. One of the best books I read this year. I read it at the beginning of this year, and it blew me away. It is historical fiction, but also horror, and I need to read more of her books now. This one is about a boy and a girl, their brother and sister. The brother goes to a reformatory, a boys' school, basically, where they used to put mostly brown and black people. It was kind of like a detention center, but back in the day. Because of something that he does. He's sticking up for his sister because she's getting unwanted advances by a white man or a white boy, and he sticks up for her. Incredible writing, lyrical, beautiful, scary. Not just what's happening at the reformatory, but what's happening in the reformatory. The most interesting and hauntingly beautiful because it takes place in the South, and you're getting like the heat. You're getting like the, the sticky moss. You're getting just like, you can feel the sweat. You can feel the, I don't know, the humidity in the air. It's just really, really good. So two more. The House on Needless Street. This is by Catriona Ward. I'm not going to tell you anything about this book except that you need to read it. It's creepy. It gave me a lot of Psycho Anthony Perkins vibes. And it was great. And then the last one is Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. This is creepy. This is just a creepy, creepy story. So a girlfriend and a boyfriend go to a cabin in the woods. Duh, obviously, of course, where everything bad happens. Love it so far. The setup is great. But they go to a cabin in the woods. I think he's just wanting to relax. I think he's a writer or something, so he's trying to write. The longer that they're there, the more things start happening, like more sounds they're hearing, the more things that the girlfriend is hearing that he can't hear. And then it just slowly gets crazier and crazier. It's incredible. Oh, and there's one more that I didn't even have on this list, which is The Troop by Nick Cutter. This is the reason that I like Nick Cutter. I've read a couple other books from him, but was never as excited about the other ones as I was about The Troop. The Troop is basically a troop of kids who go on this like camp. They go to a camp for like a week, and they run into somebody who is very sick and is not doing well. Basically, things start getting really bad. Things go from bad to worse, and everybody starts catching whatever it is that he has, and they don't know what it is that he has. And it just gets gross, and I love every second of it. If you like body horror, this is the one for you, because it gets wild. I hope that wasn't too long, and I hope it wasn't too rambly. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please give a like, comment, share, subscribe. I would love to hear what you're excited for, or some of your favorite books that you read for fall or that you are going to read. Yeah, or any recommendations that you have for me. That would be great. And I'll see you in the next one.